Good morning, and welcome to Allen Avenue Unitarian Universalist Church in-person and online worship. Whether today is your first time or you're here for many more times, we are glad to be together with you. My name is Celeste Stickney, and my pronouns are she, her, and I serve on the Building and Grounds Committee. We are a growing community that transforms lives through the power of love. Our mission calls us to celebrate diversity, encourage spiritual growth, and promote social responsibility while we travel on and care for the earth. Welcome also to those who are at home and joining us on Zoom and virtually on YouTube later this week. If you are attending for the first time, please go to our website and fill out the welcome card so we may get to know you better and connect with you. I have a couple announcements this morning. First, from Terry Grover and I, yes, the holiday fair is on. Our fabulous A2U2 Holiday Artisan Fair is returning this year after a successful comeback last year. Mark your calendars for Saturday, December 2nd, 9 to 1. Many more details and announcements will be coming in the following week's e-blast and in your order of services, and you will be contacted too. Second announcement is from Connie Cross. Reminder about the picnic. Yes, it's on today. We're going to Ferry Beach. Yay! The weather gods prevailed for Connie. We'll be picnicking at the Grove at Ferry Beach Conference Center. Do not go to Ferry Beach State Park. Carpooling is encouraged. Another group will be staying at Ferry Beach, and we are asked not to go in any of the buildings. But there are restrooms, bathrooms in the Grove. You don't have to go in the bushes, Connie has assured me. But we can tour the campus and, of course, play at the beach. Be aware that the surf may be high and there may be riptides. And the last announcement is for next Sunday, our coveting workshop. It's in your order of service, but come to the worship and stay for a tasty lunch. Join us for a workshop with Reverend Erica Barron from the UUA New England region. You may also participate via Zoom. Please RSVP online or call the office. Or today, there is a sign-up paper form at the welcome table. Lunch is from 11 to 11:30, and then the workshop goes till 1:30. There will be an abbreviated workshop for parents led by Emily Jones that will wrap up at 12:30, and childcare will be provided. Now, we invite you all to take this opportunity to silence those cell phones so that we may be fully present to one another. After the service, there'll be a brief coffee hour. Get a short cup and have your coffee to go because we'll all be going to Ferry Beach, right? Now, our hearts and minds for the ringing of the chimes.
Good morning, church. Good morning. Good to see you. For those I haven't yet met, my name is Reverend Tara, and my pronouns are she, her, and they, them. And I am the transitional minister here at Allen Ave UU Church. Sometimes we call it A2U2. It's good to be together, and as you breathe and feel maybe your feet on the ground and settle into this time together, I invite you to hear these words by the Reverend Gretchen Haley. You've been holding your prayers on the tip of your tongue, this praise and longing rising in your chest, the quickening of your breath, this dream you have been holding back to build the world up with a welcome table that won't quit, jazz on every corner and water as a given, without protest or protection, audacious loving of everyone and everything in this world to call us all beloved, to let everything go in one sweeping release, to give in to grace, to believe the sky is big enough to meet the plains, generous enough to receive every breath, every being, every grief, every broken part, and call it beautiful in all the ways, the quiet ways to say, rest now. The world is fine. You think of this setting aside as a worthy sacrifice to keep on with your days, your routine, a spell of protection for your heart, to keep the wanting measured, reasonable, not seeing the way the holding in holds you up too, keeps us all caught, disconnected, alone in all our unspoken things. For a time, an hour or so, let's try a different idea. Let's try saying all the words, singing all the songs, naming all the names. Let us call this world into being and give voice to a dream so glorious we give our lives to making it real, starting now. Come, you are joyfully called to worship.
Our chalice lighting words are from Heather Janulis. Our prophets died for the freedom of faith. We are here in their spirit. We are here to practice and sustain our living tradition, to light a chalice, claiming for justice the heat and power of fire. In our free faith, we are here, seeking freedom from despair, the freedom to be loved as ourselves, and the freedom to grow beyond imagination. We are here, gathered in the name of all that we find holy. Let us give thanks for the gift of gathering here. Amen.
And I lit our second candle this morning. I actually remembered it this week. Our candle of community, honoring the sacredness of these days as we, a people of many faiths, honor yesterday, Mabon, the autumn equinox, and tonight, Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. In our season of returning to balance, even for just a moment, may we be blessed. Would you take a breath with me? Our opening hymn is number 1016, and it might be a new one to you. It's called Profetiza Pueblo Mío in Spanish, or Prophesy, O My People. We'll be singing the English, so pay attention. And if you want the notes, if you can read music, unlike me, grab your teal hymnal. Dale will play it through once, and then we'll rise in body or in spirit and sing together. And by partway through, we'll have it down. We're trying this because it's easier for me to jump around and use my hands. So I want to have a conversation with you all, and because it's a little hard with folks on Zoom to hear what you say, I'll just repeat back whatever you say, so it will be my interpretation. So today we're talking about prophets, and then thinking about the ways in which that which is prophetic can inspire our imaginations to build a world that is better than this hot mess one that we inhabit right now. So I am wondering if any of you can tell me what you think a prophet is, kids or grown-ups. What's a prophet? A truth teller.
Someone who's inspired.
Someone who is inspired. A wise person.
Someone with a vision of the future.
Someone with a vision of the future, figuratively or literally? Both? Any other ideas?
Someone who's unpopular.
Someone who is, thank you, Mike. Someone who is unpopular. Yup, we're going to get there. So, when I Googled this, it was all about God. Someone who shares messages from God or from the divine, a teacher who is inspired by the divine, and then with a little more digging and a little more of my own theological interpretation, I got some more answers that are more similar to what you, my people, are saying. Someone who tells the truth, someone who is inspired to say the words that might bring about a future that matters to us. One translation from Hebrew is to bubble forth as if from a fountain. And another element is that there's something about speaking publicly that's part of being a prophet, right? Prophets don't just sit alone in their rooms and talk to God or talk to themselves. They get out in front of other humans and they speak the truth in public. And that can make us unpopular. So can anyone give me an example of a prophet? Elijah, yes. Martin Luther King, thank you.
Rachel Carson.
Rachel Carson. Yep.
Aldous Huxley.
Aldous Huxley.
Carl Sagan.
Carl Sagan.
Harvey.
Harvey Milk. Who else are your prophets?
Noam Chomsky.
Who?
Noam Chomsky.
Noam Chomsky, yes.
You're a false prophet.
There are false prophets. Tell me about false prophets, Annie.
Well, I think of the Koresh, David Koresh.
David Koresh.
I don't even want to say his name, sorry.
Those who might get out in front of groups of people in a charismatic way and say what they might be thinking is the truth that can cause a lot of harm, or try to kind of get people into their orb and influence things.
A long list of politicians.
A long list of politicians. Amen, Dave. So there are prophets in religion, and there are prophets in secular life as well. We have Muhammad, the prophet in Islam. We have Jesus in Christianity. We have Baha'u'llah in the Baha'i faith. Moses. For Mormons, we have Joseph Smith, right? So there's this wide range of what we can understand a prophet to be, but there's also this secular understanding of prophetic life, of what it means to be a truth teller. And when I say secular, I mean it's sort of secular, it's sort of not religious, but it also is, in that there's a deep inspiration, there's a truth that bubbles forth through people, through their mouths or their actions, their behavior, the work that they do, that comes from somewhere, right? Whether it's the divine, that larger love, that deep sense of oneness of all things. and this matters. So what does it mean to be prophetic then? Not necessarily to be a prophet, but for something to be prophetic, like we're talking about today, prophetic imagination. Anyone? Predicting the future? Yeah.
Imagining something that you want to come true.
Imagining something, Diane just preached my sermon for me. Imagining something that you want to come true, and I might even add articulating that and believing or trusting or pretending to trust maybe until it feels a little more true, like when you smile to make yourself feel a little happier, willing it into being in a way. So those of us who are staying in the sanctuary for worship and not going to RE are going to be building off this idea of what it means to be prophetic as we explore the role of imagination and dreaming that is rooted in truth, and what could be, the world that could be, in our work to build a more just and loving society. So thank you for talking with me this morning, and Emily will come up and introduce our lamplighter.
In a few moments, some of us will leave the sanctuary to enjoy religious education programming, but first I invite our lamplighter, Dexter, to come to the pulpit. A lamplighter is entrusted to transfer the light of the sanctuary chalice to the lamp and then go forth to RE spaces where they will light the lamp, the chalices there. Dexter will now light the lamp. I invite those going to RE to follow Dexter as we carry the flame, expanding our sacred space.
Our words today of prayer and meditation are by D. Scott Cooper. We bow our heads in order to imagine not one path, but many. We imagine a path forward for those who cannot imagine any path forward because of poor health, financial hardship, family crises, and other roadblocks we cannot begin to understand or imagine. We struggle to imagine a path forward for those who are forced to leave a homeland against their will, and for those unable to leave a war-torn homeland despite their lives being in danger. We imagine a path forward for those who leave their homes to make a better life for their families elsewhere. May we be a welcoming presence along that path towards hope. We come together to imagine a path forward for those of us despairing because we do not seem to know our neighbors, our country, despite the fact that we have not moved at all. May we be the good we are hoping to find as we travel side by side down the path toward hope. We imagine a path forward for those who feel lonely. May we take one another's hands as we amble that path toward community. Truly, we know as we imagine these ways forward and take one another's hands, the paths will lead to hope. The roads will lead to beloved community, and the arc will bend toward justice because we have dared to travel with love in our hearts. We now join together for a moment of quiet. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Nadine Chase Ortiz, and my pronouns are she and her, and I have a reading for The Lips of the Prophets by M. Jade Kaiser. For the lips of the prophets, for those weary of sharing their pain, for those who speak but are not heard, for those whose stories began centuries ago, for those whose testimonies are deemed a false witness, for those who have nowhere to turn to rest, for those who refuse to be silenced, for those who whisper tenderly and knowingly to their kin, for those who shout a holy protest to their oppressors, for those who wonder if there's any point, for those who cannot keep truth to themselves, for those who wail for all that has been lost, for those who sing for all that we might become, for those who call others to rise, for those whose voice reaches out like the open arms for the hurting. May they be nourished in body and soul. May they be guided in wisdom. May community uphold them. Through the lips of prophets, your kingdom draws near. Thank you.
We are a freely gathered, open, and welcome faith community, supported by your contributions. Each week, 1/3 of our offering is donated to a nonprofit organization whose mission aligns with our Unitarian Universalists principle. The Share the Plate for September is the Greater Portland Family Promise, the annual contribution. Greater Portland Family Promise is dedicated to preventing family homelessness. Greater Portland Family Promise partners with faith communities and other social service agencies to create community-based response using a multi-pronged, holistic approach to prevention, shelter, and stabilization. Greater Portland Family Promise and congregations work together to provide a system of care for families. Allen Avenue UU Church has been instrumental in bringing Family Promise to Maine, and we continue to be active in the efforts to end homelessness. Donations can be made now as the basket is passed through the donate button on our website, a2u2.org, or if you're a member on Breeze. If giving through Breeze, please note if your donation is your pledge or a gift to Share the Plate. You may also mail a check directly to the church. If you are visiting for the first time this morning, please know that your presence is your gift to us. At this time, our offering will be collected and gratefully received.
Unitarian Universalism is a call to build the beloved community, to live lives with love at the center, to celebrate difference, and to do what we can to move this beautiful and broken world a little bit closer to the world we dream of. We know that. But in order to do that, in order to work toward the world, the communities we dream of, we have to have a vision of what that world looks like. We have to have a dream, to do some dreaming, right? And I believe that one of the things that keeps us stuck in our struggle for justice is our inability to dream and to imagine. In an interview I heard last year with On Being's Krista Tippett, poet Ross Gay comments, "I often think the gap in our speaking about and for justice or working for justice is that we forget to advocate for what we love, for what we find beautiful and necessary. We are good at fighting," he says, "but imagining and holding in one's imagination what is wonderful and to be adored and preserved and exalted is harder for us, it seems. We are good at fighting what is evil, but imagining what is good and holy, what is to be preserved, what could be, this can be harder for us. I know it's harder for me. And I believe that one of the things that keeps us stuck in our struggle for justice is our inability to dream and to imagine. Now, many of us here probably grew up with wild imaginations. Anyone? You may have had an imaginary friend, or could, like me, spend hours in immersive make-believe play, alone or with others. Perhaps you allowed yourself to be whisked away into the magical worlds of books, fantasies, or fairy tales that transported you to a different place and a different time that felt just as, if not more, real than your present reality. And then something happens along the way, for many of us at least, where dreaming and imagining, not at night, get harder, no longer second nature. Dreaming turns to planning. Planning makes us anxious. The joy can get sucked out of it all. And we, as Unitarian Universalists in particular, have a history of rejecting what could be thought of as fantasy, magical, unrealistic. Our history is one of rational thought, grounded in science. Speaking of science, that's a woodpecker. Grounded in science, seeking wisdom in human nature. We've been brainy people, focused on this world, not so much on what's to come next, which was, and still is in so many ways, radical. But so is imagination. And there's a place for imagination in our faith. So is dreaming. And our failure to do so, our failure to dream, keeps us stuck. It limits our expression and practice and the promise of our faith. Now, I think about massive social issues, the spiritual crises of our time, like gun violence, and how the obvious solution for many in our country to the issue of gun violence is more guns. The response to a fear of shootings becomes open carry for teachers. I think about the institution of policing in our country and how our answer to community safety is to rely on an institution whose origins can be traced back to the slave patrol, which, quoting from the NAACP, had one mission: to establish a system of terror and squash slave uprisings with the capacity to pursue, apprehend, and return runaway slaves to their owners. I think about the climate crisis, a collective issue that threatens all life on Earth, and how we seem to be stuck looking for individual solutions, recycling, consuming less, biking more. We seem to be stuck looking for individual solutions to a systemic, collective problem. If these are our answers to modern day crises, this is what comes to mind when we dream of a better world. We are experiencing a collective failure of imagination. We are failing to dream. We are failing to dream. Black lesbian poet, scholar, legend, prophet Audre Lorde titled her 1984 essay, "The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House." The Master's tools will never dismantle the Master's house. To fight what is broken, to dismantle that which is failing us and our children, that which creates the conditions for hell on this earth, we have got to get creative. We have got to use our imaginations, to be willing to dream, to have glorious and outrageous ideas and dreams, use new and adaptive technology and tools without shame, to allow our minds and hearts to be open to such dreams, to allow ourselves to be changed. Only then do I believe we will stand a chance at a shared vision of a world more whole and more healed than the one we inhabit. Only then, in the words of the Hebrew prophet Amos, may justice roll down like water and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream.
There's a voice strong and clear, ringing out far and near. Let justice roll down, let justice roll down, like the rush of a stream comes a powerful dream. Let justice roll down, justice roll down. Let the earth be restored, every soul be reformed. Let the healing renewed, creation reborn. Here in this sacred space, with the strength of God's grace, let justice roll down, justice rolls down. Roll
First, dream. Then, practice. In the 1871 sequel to Alice in Wonderland, Looking Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There by Lewis Carroll, Alice laughs. "There's no use in trying," she said. "One can't believe impossible things." "I dare say you haven't had much practice," said the Queen. "When I was your age, I always did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things by breakfast. Sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things by breakfast." The Queen knows what's up. She knows how to dream, and the Queen knows how to practice. Practice is what moves us from our dreams, the justice, loving world that we imagine, to the kind of behavior and commitment, the creating of patterns that brings those dreams to life. We are always practicing something, writes author and organizer Adrienne Marie Brown. And those practices move us toward and away from liberation. If we pay attention, we can shift from a policed, colonized space to a practice ground on which to learn to live liberated lives. Our practices matter, and perhaps they are small and feel insignificant. Yet one of the core principles of Brown's organizing strategy is small is good, small is all. And our faith calls us to practice, not to complete the work, not to heal or change the world, but to engage wholeheartedly in practices of justice and deep compassion. Church, to me, has always felt like a practice ground for life. Before I became a minister, I was a member of a church. I was on committees and involved in different projects, and church was, for me, one of the safe places in my life at the time to bring all of who I was and to practice being who I wanted to be. People were nice, so it felt good. It felt like a good place to try and learn what it means to be a leader, what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. I learned to root myself in our UU values, and I was held accountable for my behavior with a kindness and a love through our shared covenant that wasn't necessarily a given in life outside the church walls. It was my practice ground. Like going to the gym to develop stronger muscles physically, involving myself in intentionally justice and liberation-oriented community helped me to develop stronger muscles that guided my daily living. And, like any practice, by repetition, mistakes, and course corrections, we create a pattern of behavior. Our patterns hold us and guide us. They become what we model for others, and all of this matters. All of this becomes that which creates the conditions for justice to roll down. So first, we dream. We dream of a world where love guides all things, where radical hospitality is the norm and justice rolls down. And then we practice. We practice this world in all aspects of our lives, even if they seem small. We practice as if our life depends on it, because it does. We adjust our expectations of others in our community, modeling this behavior and asking those we love to join in. We're not naive. We're not even optimistic. We're people of fierce hope. We're people of fierce hope. The kind of hope that you don't feel, that you choose. The outcome is unknown. We don't know what it will be, this outcome of our dreaming and our practice. What we do know is that our humanity is at stake, that failing to dream, to truth tell, to practice, failing to do that hurts our souls. What we do know is that regardless of the outcome, we do have an influence. We are bending the future together, Brown writes, into something we have never experienced. Through the lips of prophets and the dreaming and the practice, may heaven on earth draw near. May we be the ones to help make it so. Amen. Our closing hymn is number 20 in your gray hymnal and up on the screen, Be Thou My Vision. Dale will play it through once, and then we'll rise in body or in spirit and join our voices in song. All that we have ever loved and all that we have ever been waits with us on the brink of all that we aspire to create. A deeper peace, a larger love, a more embracing hope, a deeper joy in this life that we share. Our worship has ended, and our service begins. Church, go in love.